that I selected, that's all from the Pollution Control Agency, or from the Barbecue and Patio Association, or from the EPA, all information that we've had people talk to us twice about and or give us those handouts. They're all from those organizations.
Well, let me repeat that. This is information that you've not given to me. I don't know about the other people.
No, Jim, I can't say for sure, but I believe that you have received most of that information. Certainly the one with the chart with the person showing the health effects of wood smoke is given to all of the people on the task force.
Not me.
I thought I included it in the packet to you, but
I would have been,
didn't.
I have a very strong interest in it, and I think you developed a history of not providing a portion of the information.
Okay. Are there any other agenda items?
I have another, I think it's your intent to review the minutes for the September and the October meeting.
I only brought those minutes, or they were only faxed or sent out this yesterday. Is that right?
Okay.
I mean, I was up north, so.
Okay. So we can't approve those minutes. I haven't, once again, you haven't provided them to me.
Okay, so Jim, for everyone in the audience, is the only person on the task force that doesn't have email, and so I've been delivering stuff to his door, and there's a lot of information, so we can handle those however we want, Jim. You can vote against them, you can vote to abstain.
You can't approve minutes when you haven't distributed them.
Well, they've been distributed, but you did not get yours.
Well, if you haven't distributed them to everybody, you haven't distributed them.
And it takes a quorum over a,
No, you can't have a quorum if you haven't distributed the minutes.
you can have a majority without you getting the minutes, Jim. If the task force wishes to wait on the minutes until you have a chance to review them, that's fine.
I would like Jim to review them, because he's a research scientist. And if there's things that we're making scientific declarations in there, I'd like him to approve them.
Well, the minutes do not make scientific declarations, they simply say what was said at the meetings. And so, it's a recounting of what's been said at the meetings.
I know, but I know that like Lowell had sent something to me that he wanted to have added, because that I must have missed something, and so, I mean, I think that it's only fair that we allow people that wanna look at it to make sure I didn't miss anything, I guess.
That's fine, I don't have a problem, but, I mean, like I say, the task force can decide whether they want to set them aside or not.
When we get to
Well,
that
then
point of looking at them.
You're established, if we follow on your comments, you could distribute the minutes only to a majority, 9 people, and then not distribute it to
But
them.
he didn't.
Yeah, just stop.
If you want them that seriously, why didn't you just go get them? But we'll wait for you so you can read them, but let's not hold up the whole process over you not getting email stuff.
It's a
trying to give
recurring,
it to you.
this is-
No, I think we're.
It's a bogus argument though, that you're starting down a path of not giving stuff and making minority things. You just didn't get them, you don't have email, you got them to everybody else. Let's get them to you, you review them, we'll deal with them next time.
Yeah, that's fine, we can
Let's make some
approve it
progress
later.
here.
Yeah, that's all we
Instead
need
of
to
going
do.
over old stuff and all this procedural stuff.
There's procedural issues that need to be
If you want them
handled
that
to have a
badly,
meeting.
you could have got them from any of us. And if you can get them now, we just said you can get them now. I'm tired of all this rehashing everything. Every time we've been here, we sit there and go through all this rehashing stuff
All right, let's
for
move
most of the
on.
meetings. So let's move on, get your minutes, read them, if that's okay with the group, and we'll let you give your input.
All I asked for was to defer approval of the minutes until everybody has
And
received
that's
the
just
minutes.
fine.
And that's fine, but when you start down this
Let's move
path
on.
about him doing things
We'll
towards
object to
minorities
that.
and trying to be underhanded, that's not acceptable.
All
He wasn't
I
doing
said,
that.
Jim, was the task force would decide.
Okay.
He didn't object to it.
You're heading down a path that was fictitious. So
Okay,
that's why I wanted to
let's-
stop it.
Okay, we got it. Let's move on.
Okay.
Do you object to this?
Are there any other items to be added to the agenda?
Yeah, I don't know if this is an agenda item, but I would like to add a point to this, so that we just do that when we get there.
I would think that would be fine.
Another statement?
If there are other statements,
Let's hold on that till that.
so,
Okay, that's, I didn't know if that was for now or not.
anybody else? Okay, so, we then, have an agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, second.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yes.
No, with the agenda?
Of approving the agenda as it is laid out in those guidelines, yes.
Oh, but we
Well,
just
I- we're
added
gonna-
to it.
We just added to it.
Hmm.
Okay, I wanna make sure that it's clear that I reserved the right to change agenda items or to move them in order of sequence.
Well, I don't know how you put that in there, but if the task force agrees to whatever you wanna do, you can do whatever you want during the course of the meeting. I mean, the normal thing would be if you wanna change the order of things around, that you say so. And then we all know what we're gonna do.
Before we begin our agenda, I recommend we listen to Michelle's statement.
Would the task force like to listen to Michelle's statement prior to approving the agenda?
What statement? Why don't we talk about an agenda? That's why we're here. If he wants to change it, we change it, and then we approve on it, and we go forward, and if that's part of the agenda, let's do it.
Because
Jim, did you make a motion on that? To let her speak?
I make a motion to
I'll
let
second
Michelle
that.
speak.
Okay.
About what?
Okay.
To let her give her
All right.
speech.
Okay,
Let's just move on.
let's just do it.
I know.
It's kinda silly.
All right, from the beginning of this task force, one of the things that we've been struggling with, which is what Pat happened to bring up, is what is the goal of this task force? We have never really clearly defined it. Now, in my opinion, I believe that our goal is to identify whether Maplewood has a wood smoke issue. Is that what people believe? Is that what our goal is supposed to be, Will? Because you said that we're supposed to be here to identify whether Maplewood has a wood smoke issue. Is that right?
That is my understanding.
That is a portion of it, I believe.
And that we are, if we identify that there's a problem, then we would make recommendations. Is that?
That would be correct,
Okay.
in my opinion.
But the challenge I've had with the smoke task force from the beginning is that we've never done anything to identify that. We've never done one thing to say, okay, do we have any data that's saying this is a problem? We've never gotten clear data from the police, from the fire marshal, from anybody to find out whether we have a problem. So I took it upon myself to call all these people and get data of Maplewood, because quite frankly, bringing in experts to tell us about how wood smoke is harmful to our health does not tell us that we have a problem in Maplewood. It tells us that it's hazardous to health. So is car exhaust, so is industry, so are about 1 million other things that could be hazardous to our health. I was under the impression that this task force was to determine whether we have an issue in Maplewood. So what I did, and I have this information that I pass out to all of you, is I contacted many different people in the city of Maplewood, many different organizations, to find out data that we can actually go off of. For example, I called the hospital, I called St. John's, to find out, do we have people admitted into the hospital for smoke inhalation from wreck fires or from wood home heating? Because that would be something that would indicate that there might be a problem. They don't have that kind of statistical data to give out. She recommended I call the paramedics. So I called BJ Bernard Jungman, our paramedic head, and I spoke with him. And he stated that to his knowledge, they have never treated anyone for smoke issues related to wreck fires or wood stoves. And he said, obviously there are things related to, a house being on fire, but
We
that's
don't all
not the
have
same.
What are you passing around? We don't.
That's
Is
fine.
there,
Here you go.
Thanks.
Here's more.
Thanks.
He recommended that I
got
call
enough?
our fire marshal.
More?
Yep.
So I called our fire marshal and I asked Butch Jarvis, can you tell me about the complaints that you've received related to wreck fires or wood stoves or anything like that? And he said they don't get any calls on wood stoves or wood fireplaces or anything in that regard. And the few instances that he has gotten regarding fires were either from foolish